Hi, this is Rick Baker with Evo Organic, and today we're going to show you how to do an overhead watering style Aria system that will cover a larger area. So let me tell you some of the pieces that you'll need to take care of this installation. We've got the 1/4-inch drip tubing, and we're using a pop-in style of barbed emitter. We have some barbed tees here to connect our 1/4-inch tubing with. That silver plate that you're looking at is to take care of the top row, since we need some sort of mounting piece. These are sticky brackets that hold the plumbing in. That's a tubing cutter that's commonly found. They sell those at Lowe's and Home Depot and most drip irrigation stores. We've got some tubing tees for 1/2-inch pipe and L brackets. We've got a 1 1/4-inch hole saw and a 3/8-inch drill bit for the emitter holes. So let me show you, we're marking this, we're basically centering this square in the middle of each hole, and we're marking a position 4 1/4 inches down from the edge there. And what that is that's where you're going to drill a hole and for the emitter, and we're going to pop in the emitter barb. All right, here we go. We're going to go ahead and use our drill here. Just brace your hand on the unit and press. It should go through pretty easily. It's just plastic. You don't need to drill the bottom row. If you notice, since the unless this PC12 is going to be stacked over top of another PC12, you don't need to drill the bottom row. If this unit happens to be near the base, then you don't want to put holes in the bottom because you want to contain the water and not cause any leaks. So you kind of need to figure out whether your PC12s are going to be on the top row, the middle row, or on the lower row. Just make sure that you don't drill a hole in the bottom shelf on the unit that's attached to the base. These are typical barbed emitters. There's a barb on one side. Actually, this is a double barbed unit. There's a little notch that allows it to pop into the plastic, and it pops in really firmly. We're using a kind of a bicycle wrench to push these in. As you can see, the barbed end sticks out the back, the part that we can connect tubing to. The silver plate is something that we've had to add for the top row. Let's say you have 3 PC12s stacked and you've got a 7.5-inch wall counting the base, 7.5-foot wall counting the base. We're going to need something to mount the emitters on that will water the top row of plants. So we have this bracket that we're going to attach to the top, and we're marking down about 1 inch from the top of the bracket, and we're going to go ahead and drill our holes in the top mounting bracket. Pop each emitter, and these are a little bit tougher than the plastic, but they'll go in pretty well. That's the side of the emitter that we're going to connect our 1/4-inch tubing to, and we want to be able to pull the tubing up through the PC12 and just curve it around to push onto the end of that barb. So now we're going to drill a hole in the shorter part of this metal flange, and we're going to drill it in where we have a plastic section. There are 3 points that you can connect to on top of the PC12. There's not a lot of stress on this, so it's 3 connection points are plenty. And we're going to attach it with a simple screw that we provided. All right, now we're going to show how to add the side water grommet. And you notice there's a tiny little indentation point. We call it a drill point. So just place your drill point right inside that little notch and use your 1 1/4-inch hole saw and drill a hole through the unit. Now pop in the water grommet. You notice it's flush with the side of the exterior. Now we're going to show you how to add the Z brackets on the back. This is really simple. We have one side of the Z bracket is pre-drilled, and that aligns with the holes on the Aria unit. Just use the screws provided to attach the Z bracket and make sure it's pointing down. Then you take the other Z bracket and mark carefully the position on the wall. And of course, we've left that undrilled because we want you to make absolutely sure that you hit wall studs in every situation. So you see how the PC12 stacks on top of the base? Now we're going to take our tubing, this is 1/2-inch tubing, and we're using a kind of a T and joint I basically call it a push joint. They have a reverse flange, like a Chinese finger device, and all you do is you push the tube through the T or the L bracket, and it just grabs it and seals. It's a pretty good method. And what Corey's doing here now is we just have a simple pull tie pulled through our sticky attaching device here. This has a little bit of epoxy on it. Just peel it and stick it onto the back of the PC-12 to hold the tubing in place. And we're basically going to tee our tubing laterally. And since we're going to have multiple PC-12s, like I say, there are about 20 PC-12s in this particular installation, we're going to take the water pump and pump up to the top, and then we're going to tee off to the left and right, and then we're going to put just an angle, a 90-degree angle, and run a tube down through the PC-12s. The reason we're doing this is that we need a lot of places. We need 12 points on each tube to run our 1/4-inch tube, to connect to the emitters. So this is really a supply tube. This 1/2-inch pipe is our supply line. Corey's just pushing the 1/2-inch tube through the water grommet. The grommet seals really, really well and keeps the units from leaking. And you saw it push through pretty easily. And now we're just popping using a barb punch. That red object is just a barb punch. We're just punching a hole in the tube, really anywhere that's convenient. And we're going to put a double male barb into that 1/2-inch tube and then connect our little 1/4-inch lines off of that. And of course we just need them long enough to reach the emitter. You just chop it off with a pair of cutters there, and you just reach in and just push it onto the back of the emitter, and you're hooked up and ready to go. I think we're using a right angle here just to keep the tubes kind of neatly positioned toward the back of each unit. One thing that we've noticed in doing this type of assembly, where you have a lot of wires and tubes, make the tubes a little bit longer than you think you need, because you don't want them to get in the way of putting pots in the unit. Sometimes if the tubes are too short or too tight, you end up with these tubes kind of in the way of the holes where you're going to insert your plant pots. So you want to be able to kind of push them out of the way and keep them flush to the back of the unit, just to keep them out of the way of the plants you're putting in. As Corey is running the tubing up through the top there and connecting to our top emitters, and it really just runs down through the drain port in the top of the PC-12. And of course this is theoretically going to be our top row. And there's a close-up of some of the wiring assembly that is inside the unit. It's pretty, it looks complicated, but if you just take it one step at a time, it's pretty easy. Well, now we're going to show you some wide shots of this larger wall finish. You notice we have it hooked up, tested, and running. The pump is going here, and you see all the emitters dripping water, and this is what the wall looks like finished. You can use this technique to make a wall of almost infinite size. The tricky thing is calculating which type of pump you need for each assembly, and we can help you with that on the phone. Good luck with your installations. Call anytime you need something, and we're always willing to shoot a video anytime we come up with something new or that helps installers put in a custom installation. This is Rick Baker for Evo Organic, and you're looking at the Aria vertical gardening system. Good luck and happy gardening.